And who will be this audience? The students? What is their background?
Okay, most of them, I believe, almost all of us are study group members. So we have been doing texts, Bhagavad Gita and other Tattva Bodh and some Upanishads also. So it's a distribution of like different level of texts.
Shall I begin?
Oh, Swamiji, 1 minute. Pujita
Okay.
will start. She will they'll give an introduction.
Yeah.
Alright. Hari Om to everyone present here. We will be starting today's session with Sahana Vavatu. I request everyone to chant with me. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, everyone. The topic today is something that has taken a lot of us by a lot of interest and surprise and lots of enthusiasm for sure. The paradigm shift from karma to karma yoga elevates ordinary action into spiritual practice. And I'm sure all of us are eager to learn a lot more about this. I call upon Tulsi Didi to introduce Swamiji to all of us.
Tulsi? Where is Tulsi? I saw her connecting. Tulsi, start talking. I'll do it, obviously.
Tulsi Didi, I don't think you're audible.
Swami Mahamedhananda is a sannyasi of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, established by Swami Vivekananda in 1897. He joined the monastic order in 2004 and served for over 9 years as hostel superintendent, college lecturer, and joint controller of examinations at Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Mandira, a fully residential UG to PhD college for men situated adjacent to Belur Mutt in West Bengal. He was for over 6 years the editor of the Vedanta Kesari, a monthly cultural and spiritual English magazine published from Sri Ramakrishna Mutt, Chennai. During this period, he was the spiritual mentor of Vivekananda Study Circle, a student body of IIT Madras. He also served as a member of IIT Madras Ethics Committee. From January 2023, he is serving as the correspondent of Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Moral and Spiritual Education, RIMSE, a unit of Ramakrishna Ashrama, Mysore, engaged in training students, teachers, professionals, and the public in living the higher values. He has a PhD in English literature from the University of Mysore and delivers talks in educational institutions, faculty development programs, and corporate companies. Pleasure to have you with us, Swamiji. And Pujita, yeah.
Thank you, Didi, for that introduction. I think we can start off with our session right now. After the session, after Swamiji's talk, we will be taking up questions, which will be moderated. And if it exceeds time, those questions can be sent to our mail IDs. We will be informing further. Now, I think we can start off with the session. We're all looking forward eagerly to hearing from Swami Mahamedhananda.
Thank you. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Namaskar to everyone. I thank Srimati Anupama for inviting me to share some thoughts with you. You're a study group, so you're already introduced to the intricacies of thinking, which our scriptures do, connecting ideas, going deeper into the layers of ideas. So I will present some thoughts, see how you can connect with that. The topic is paradigm shift from karma to karma yoga. I don't quote much, or I don't quote anything at all from the scriptures. Just a little bit of common sense understanding of what is karma. And let us see how we can understand that, and from there, how we can convert that into yoga. To begin with, let us take this word kriya. Kriya is action. Now, if we say, I don't know if I can ask you to participate. If you can, please answer. At least the young lady who introduced, who is accompanying, she can at least answer. If I ask you, what is kriya? What would you say? Kriye, Kannadadalli kriye antivalla, kriya. What would
An
you?
activity?
Activity, yeah. Activity, action. Any action is kriya. I lift my hand. This is kriya. Now, again, I have a question. What exactly is happening when I am doing an action? When I am doing an action, what is it that is happening? Can someone answer? Anyone can lift their hand. Host can allow them to speak.
Body-mind coordination.
Okay. Then?
It starts with the thought to lift the hand.
Yes, very good. Yes. Then it is correct. Both are correct. Anything else you would like to add?
There might be some effect of that. Which
may or may not be.
May or may not be.
As of nothing here. So there is no effect here.
Message is sent to the brain.
What is that process? What is happening in that process? Okay, let's take it like this. Now I am speaking, you are also sitting there, speaking, listening. I am moving my body. I am uttering words. I am creating some sound. Now all this, in one sense, it is just an expression of energy. It's an expression of energy. Suppose I had not eaten anything for the last 3 days. I don't think I would be given this talk. I'd be lying down fully tired on my bed. I would have no energy left to even sit on this chair. So this action, we can put it like this. It is an expression of energy. Any action is an expression of energy. Now, where did this energy come from? This energy comes from the food I have eaten yesterday, the food I had today, breakfast, lunch, and evening snacks. All that food is reshaping my body, and I am again reshaping that energy in the forms of these hand movements, in the forms of these thoughts expressed as words, uttering as songs. Please follow me. Every action is just a reshaping of energy received from nature, from Prakriti. The energy in Prakriti, in the form of rice, dal, vegetables, fruits, water, I have taken that, I have imbibed it, and my body is reshaping it as action. This is all I'm doing, and everyone is doing this, nothing else but this reshaping of energy. This reshaping is happening in the form of thoughts, in the form of words, in the form of physical actions. It may be in interaction with fellow human beings, or it may be like I'm doing now, simply sitting and moving my hands. But I am reshaping energy. That's all I'm doing. But what is this energy? It is Prakriti, nature. What is that? What is that? It is again the building blocks. Prithvi, Apa, Agni, Vayu, Akasha. There is this earth element, there is this water element, fire element, and there is this air. All of them together, they give rise to what I call rice, dal, vegetables, fruits. You go into the source, whether it is an apple or it is a rice, it is nothing but these Panchabhutas. Those Panchabhutas are reshaped as rice, as dal, as vegetables, as fruits. The same Panchabhutas, 5 elements. And every reshaping creates a new taste, new smell, and it has its own individuality, appears to have an individuality. But at the root, it is nothing but the Panchabhutas, energy. Energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. All it can be done is reshaped. Prakriti is reshaping it in so many forms. It is reshaping that as trees, as plants. And I, as a human being, I am also an animal. I am also taking that energy in the form of food, rice, dal, water, fruits, vegetables, and I am reshaping it. Not consciously, my stomach is doing it. There's again Prakriti's creation. It is reshaping this energy. So action is nothing but reshaping of energy. This is the first concept. Second thing we have to understand, which grows from this understanding, is that we all are eating the same rice, whether it is in Jammu or in Mysore. Rice is rice, because it is the same Panchabhutas. We are all eating the same food. My parents ate this food, your parents ate the same food, and they created your body. My parents created this body. We appear to be so different across the world, divided by space, maybe even by time. But if you go to the root, you will understand each one of us, we are nothing but Prakriti Panchabhutas. We are nothing but energy. Shakti is the word we use. Prakriti is one word. The philosophy uses that word, Prakriti. The whole universe is Prakriti or Shakti, reshaped in so many ways by so many people. In this understanding, we arrive at this discovery that the whole universe is one matter. Whether it is your body or someone else's body, it is at source the same Panchabhutas. We are all one, even in terms of matter. Though it appears like you have a stomach pain and I don't experience that pain. Only you experience that pain. You are enjoying your ice cream, but I don't enjoy that. That joy is not in me. Only you are enjoying. So it appears like I am disconnected with you. But you go to the root, then you understand we are all one. We are one as matter, as Prakriti. There is another step in this understanding, which I will not touch now. That's not our topic. When you come to this realization that we are one as matter, the next step is to go behind matter and discover that Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, the whole universe is nothing but one consciousness. Shakti is just a manifestation without any modification. It is just a manifestation of consciousness. That consciousness we call Brahman. There is another topic, I won't go into that. But this much we have understood. Action is reshaping of energy. Energy is from nature, and that nature is same. And every one of us, our body, our mind is subtle matter. Everything is nothing but one energy called Prakriti. That energy has so many modifications. Someone is tall, someone is short, someone is fair-looking skin, someone is darker skin. Someone's mind is working in this way, someone's mind works in some other way. So many apparent differences. But behind those differences, there is only one. And that one thing is called energy, Shakti. If you go behind this, if you come to consciousness, that will not touch now. This much we have understood. Now, this Kriya or Kriya, which is action, it can become, and it becomes karma when this action is linked with kartrutva bhava and bhoktrutva, kartrutva, bhoktrutva. When these two elements come into this play, the kriya becomes karma. Kartru means a sense of agency. I am the doer. Bhoktru means I am doing it because I want to experience it. Or I am experiencing this action. Whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, I am the experiencer. I want to enjoy or I am being made to experience it. Either way, I have a sense of ownership. I am doing it and that agency brings me the experience. This experience can be either pleasant or unpleasant, but that behind that pleasant, unpleasant experience is this fundamental aspect. I am doing it. I want to experience it. This is called karma. Karma is there is action, and behind action, there is a sense of agency and a desire to experience. Kartrutva and Bhoktrutva Bhava. When these two add on to this action, then that action will have fruits. Phala. That action is called karma, and its fruits are known as karma phala. Fruits of your actions. What is this fruits? How does it come? Just because I have a kartrutva and bhoktrutva bhava. It comes because this reshaping of energy is done with a sense of agency and a desire to enjoy. That brings the fruits of the actions. Just because of this agency and the desire to enjoy, action becomes karma and it brings karma phala. Now, this reshaping of energy, which is what action is, reshaping of energy as karma can be done in two ways. One, it can be self-centered. Another, it can be universe-centered or other-centered. Two ways in which we can do this. Self-centered, universe-centered. Everyone is doing this. Majority of people do it self-centered. I, me, mine. Why am I doing it? Because I want to do it. The motive, the purpose, these are keywords. The motive, the purpose is I want to do it and I want to experience it. I am the experiencer. I am the doer. This immediately will result in this self-centered reshaping of energy, will result in karma which binds me. Karma bandhana, it is called. The reshaping of energy becomes a chain, whether of gold or dark baser ore, as Swami says. A chain is chain. But I am bound by the fruits of these actions. That is karma phala. Every action brings its fruits, either chain of gold or chain of base iron ore. But it is a chain. It binds. It limits. And there is an experience, pleasant, unpleasant, coming in turns. This comes from the self-centered reshaping of energy. But there is another way of reshaping energy that is called other-centered or universe-centered. Whatever actions I do, the purpose, the motive is what Bhagavan Buddha says. Bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukhaya. Bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukhaya. Whatever actions I am doing now is for the good of the maximum number of people, for the happiness of maximum number of people. All the reshaping of energy that I do is for the good of this universe. When someone is doing it self-centered reshaping, he is breaking away from the truth that that energy is not his in the first place. Now, this food I had yesterday, today, it is not mine. This body is also not mine. It belongs to the Prakriti. And it is sustained by Prakriti. And who gave me this body? My mother gave me this body. My father gave me this body. Where did they get this? They got it again from Prakriti. They had the food and their body created this body. And the moment I was born, my mother started feeding me. Again, the whole process is nothing but Prakriti reshaped and continuously still reshaping itself. My body is reshaping. It was a school body, school-going student's body, college-going body, then middle-aged. Next will come old age, and then it will decay, it will perish. This body is continuously being reshaped. But somehow, we have this sense of agency. I am the owner of this energy. That is the root of all mistake and all problems in life. Claiming ownership over this Shakti. I own this. I, the individual, small individual, I am the owner of this energy. And I want to reshape it for my pleasure, for my good, my so-called success in terms of money, in terms of power, connections, all matter finally. Thought is also, mind is also matter. So thoughts are also matter. I am using this energy given by Prakriti, which is the same energy around me manifested as so many people. I am using this to disconnect myself from this truth that I am one with this universe. That happens when my actions are self-centered. What is self-centeredness? Thinking about me, my body, my desires, my problems, my aspirations, my difficulties. Me. I, me, mine. When the thoughts revolve around this, then such a person will cut off from this world. This world is for my enjoyment. And it makes sense only when I am there. That I. This I actually is a small I. Sri Ramakrishna calls it the unripe ego. I, no. In society, majority people function from this level where all their thoughts, desires, and actions revolve around themselves, self-centered. There is one definition of man. We should understand this before going to the second step. Who is man? This is the discovery of our rishis. Swami Vivekananda puts it like this. Man is a compound of animality, humanity, and divinity. Man is a compound of animality, humanity, and divinity. Pashutva, Manushatva, Daivatva, Murara, Sammishranave, Manushya. What does this mean? This reshaping of energy will result in my awareness functioning at 3 levels. My reshaping of energy will transform my level of awareness. At the base level is the animality, Pashutva. Pashutva, Manushatva, Daivatva. Pashutva is the level of body, matter, gross matter. We are all animals, well-dressed, living in bungalows, maybe. But for all that, we are just animals, good-looking or ugly-looking. It is the same human body. Now, when person lives at this animal level, he reshapes energy in a very base level. All his thoughts, his desires, his feelings, they revolve around 4 things. Food, sleep, sex, shelter. Food, sleep, sex, shelter. His whole reshaping of energy is around this. How do I procure this? How do I enjoy this better? How do I protect this? There ends the matter. Whole life is spent like this. How do I procure? How do I enjoy it? How do I protect it? You can see this in some pathetic attempts to hold on to youth, pathetic attempts to hold on to wealth, power. Very subtle ways it works. But it is a gross manifestation, gross level of awareness, Pashutva. There is nothing wrong in it. But it is like using a race car to go at 10 kilometers speed. There are higher levels of awareness possible. But when I function from this animal level, I deny that to myself. Someone may ask, what is your problem? There is a problem in this. When a man or woman functions from this animal level, concerned only with the body and all gross matter, he or she will become selfish. And selfishness, because food, sleep, sex, shelter, all animals want it. There is a competition. And that competition will bring selfishness. There is someone wanting it. So I become selfish. Selfishness leads to greed, and greed manifests as corruption. Corruption is not just taking pride. Corruption is also not recognizing my duties in life. And even if recognizing, not fulfilling those duties in life. And duties is not just in deference to people around me. Duties towards myself to evolve. And not recognizing that the goal of human life is evolution, vikasa. But many people, even so-called educated people, they spend their whole life in expanding and evolving at the matter level. How do I beautify my house? How do I beautify my body? Their life is spent in that. Now from there, I have to evolve to a higher level. This can be understood, this Pashutva, Manushatva, Daivatva, it can be understood in another context also, through another, in another direction, which is known to us. When we take our Kundalini to Jatakam, matching the horoscope, this person, astrologer, he will see the Gana, Rakshasa Gana, Manushya Gana, Deva Gana. Rakshasa Gana, Manushya Gana, Deva Gana. It gives an idea like at what level of awareness they are born with and what will be the dominant desires, motives. It gives a fair idea. And that is discovered by the position of the planets. That is the miracle of creation. Swami Yukteswargiri, Guru of Brahmas Yogananda, he says, karma is mathematically precise. And that precision is seen in this astrology. Now, from the animality level, I have to rise to the humanity level, and that will be possible only when I have higher thoughts, higher aspirations, higher ideals in my mind. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Swami Vivekananda's Guru, he says, only he can be called a human being whose mind has awakened to higher thoughts and higher ideals. Higher thoughts, higher ideals. But if one is sucked and bogged down with considering the good and preservation of their body, their material possessions, they will not even turn anywhere higher. It doesn't make sense to them at all. They will see it as impractical until they come to their last moment on their deathbed. Then it will hit the meaningless of the life they have led will be terrible, and they will not have much time left to do anything. Now, this reshaping of energy, it can be done at a higher level, at the Manushatva level. How do I do that? By having higher thoughts, higher ideals. Swami Vivekananda, that's why he says, if a man with an ideal makes 1,000 mistakes, a man without ideal makes 50,000 mistakes. Therefore, have ideals in life. Adarsha. And when we have an ideal, higher ideal, this energy reshaping becomes purifying. At the animal level, it is selfishness. And that is the root, fundamental root of what we call sin. Swami Vivekananda puts it like this. Selfishness is the chief sin. Selfishness is the chief sin. Now, when I reshape my energy through my thoughts, my feelings, my actions, making it other-centered, universe-centered, it is called unselfishness. I grow into unselfishness. When I reshape it for my good and my progress, then it is selfishness. Because I refuse to recognize realize my oneness with people around me. I enter into competition with people, with nature around me. I start using nature for my joy. I want to experience this nature because it gives me joy. I don't care what happens to nature. And I forget I am that nature. Just a reshaping of the same nature, which I am now misusing. Now, when I rise to the Manushatva level, it will not be a very perfect level. But as one of our presidents, Swami Ramakrishna used to say, this selfishness at this Manushatva level can be called enlightened selfishness. At the animality level, it is abject, base selfishness. I, me, mine. When we meet people at the animality level, Pashutva level, we can make it out through their language. Their dialogues, their conversations are dominated with this Nanu, Nanage, Nandu. I, me, mine. Either it is a sob story or a glorifying story. But they are the center of it. They won't have time for anything in the world. I, me, mine. Now, when they rise to the Manushatva level by holding on to higher thoughts, higher ideals, they start thinking about people around them. Then this selfishness can be called enlightened selfishness. At base animality level, it is I, me, mine. But at the humanity level, this person starts saying, I and you all. He starts thinking about others, I and you all. The more he starts thinking about you all, he evolves to come to that stage where he says, I and we all. I'm playing with the words, but there is a degree of unselfishness manifesting there. I and we all. And the more he starts thinking about we all, he'll come to a point where he says, you and me. From I, me, mine, he comes to a point where he says, you and me. Then that unselfishness, which is nothing but what we call purifying the mind, it will lead to the next step, divinity. To understand this, I give one more quote from Swami Vivekananda. He says, unselfishness is God. The earlier quote I told was, selfishness is the chief sin. The second quote I'm giving is, unselfishness is God. What is unselfishness? Coming out of this I, me, mine and recognizing my oneness with this universe. The more I start thinking about others, more it is other-centered, universe-centered, then there is an expansion. I am going towards the truth that I am one with this universe. That will purify the mind. And in that purified mind, in that mind which is slowly being purified, that mind will reflect the inner divinity, Daivatva, that is consciousness. Atman is the word we use. Consciousness is the English word. The inner true nature, whatever I am. That I is not this I which I use outside to identify with body and all the matter around me. That is not the I. That I is Aham at the different dimension. It cannot even be called Aham. But when we have to talk, we have to use the word Aham, Nano. It is not the I of the body level, animality level. So this progression from animality to humanity to divinity, this is called spiritual life. It is not going to temples, church, masjid, praying to God with a long list. Give me this, give me that, remove this illness. And we say we worship God. It is just begging this and that to keep my material matter in a good condition for me to enjoy. And we say that is religious life. Spirituality is a different dimension. It is the attempt to discover my true nature. This can be done by so many paths. Traditionally, we recognize 4 paths. The path of Jnana, intense intellectual power to discriminate vichara, viveka vichara, trying to see the truth. But it has limitations. Many people who go into this, they'll be Vedantists, armchair philosophers. When it comes to ground reality, everything is forgotten, all Vedanta. There is this sense of separation and all the jats and other things come. And they very conveniently call it, it's called Anukula Vedanta. They say, oh, Vyavaharika Satya, this and that. But that's not my point. There is this path of Jnana, Jnana Marga. There is the path of devotion. That is also a path to discover this truth of who I am, Bhakti Marga. There is a path of deep meditation, reflecting, turning the thoughts inward, where it becomes without vrittis, chitta vritti nirodha. That is the path of Raj Yoga. And there is the path of action, karma, where karma is performed in such a way that it becomes yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, Raj Yoga, karma yoga. Karma yoga is foundation. Everyone is doing karma. Thinking is action. Feeling is action. You cannot be without actions. Can those actions be performed in such a way that it helps you to discover your true nature? Yes. What is that? It is karma yoga. Performing your actions by expanding it. The motive, the purpose behind your action should be universal. Bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukhaya. When you start doing that, karma becomes karma yoga. It is no longer karma for my glorification, my enjoyment. It is karma which helps me to connect with this universe, to expand. That's why Swami Vivekananda says, expansion is life, contraction is death. Expansion is life, contraction is death. A karma yogi tries to have his starting point as the universe. Ordinary persons, their starting point, that is the motive, whatever impels, initiates action, is their small, narrow identity. I, me, mine. That I is the source, the root of all their actions. That can be expanded. Whatever actions I do, that can begin with this universe as the starting point. It can be done. When we try to do that, we say we are trying to practice Karma Yoga. Now, how to do this? This is an understanding of karma, action, and how action results in fruits when there is sense of agency, kartrutva, and sense of experiencer, bhoktrutva, and how this sense of agency and the sense of experiencer brings fruits depending on how that reshaping is done, whether it is self-centered or other-centered, universe-centered. This much we have seen. If you have any questions in this section, please ask me now. Anyone has any questions in this? I hope I'm making sense.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ.
ಹೇಳಿ.
ನನಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಷನ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಡೆತ್ ಅಂದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಎಲಾಬ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ?
Now, when you do your payasam, ಮನೇಲಿ ಪಾಯಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. You can do it to eat and enjoy. ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಪಾಯಸ, ರುಚಿಯಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೊಡೆದೆ ಅಂತ. But you will never do that. Even when you are thinking of doing payasam, behind that, there is this idea, my child enjoys it. My family enjoys it. They will relish it. So the motive behind that is not just you enjoying your payasam. You want your family to enjoy it. That is expansion. This usually is limited to a family. That can be expanded to include others. ಆದರೆ ಊರವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಪಾಯಸ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಏನೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಹಂಚಿಕೊಡುವ ಒಂದು ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. I will automatically have this. Naturally, I will have a feeling of sharing with others. Sharing other people's sorrows, sharing their joys. And whatever I have, can I share it with others? That thought will come, expansion. You will start feeling oneness with people around you. ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಪಕ್ಕದ ಬೀದಿಲಿ, ಪಕ್ಕದ ಫ್ಲಾಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರೋ ಏನೋ ಆಗೋಯ್ತಂತೆ, ಸತ್ತೋದ್ರಂತೆ, ಪೇಪರಲ್ಲಿ ಓದ್ನಂತೆ, ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಅನಿಸ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಅದು ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ಬೀದಿಲಿ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಈ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಅಂತೆ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಪಾಪ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಪಾಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಟಿವಿ ನೋಡೋಕೆ ಕೂತೆ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಬಂತಂತೆ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯವರೇ ಅವರು ಅಂತ. ಆಗಾಯ್ತಂತೆ ಆಘಾತ. There is an identification with a small number of people. That is contraction. That identification expands. You don't do this with this idea, I have to feel everyone is mine. Atara alla. Agatte adu no, that is a path of sadhana. There are two ways of expanding. Expansion is life, contraction is death andaga. Expansion ge eradu dikkide, two directions. One, you put into your mind, this brain, this thought that I am one with this universe. We have seen that as energy, we are all one. I am one with this universe. So this person is nothing but the same energy as me, reshaped like this by his parents, and now he is reshaping it. ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೊಂದು ಅವನು reshape ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ. By his thoughts, by his feelings, by his actions, he is reshaping himself every day. So whatever he is just that kind of reshaping which he has done. I am also this kind of a person because that is the kind of reshaping I have done through my thoughts, my feelings, my actions. We are all just energy reshaped. If I can feel that, I will not feel he's a stranger, he's a crooked fellow, he is my enemy. Atara ansala. Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi, Sri Ramakrishna's wife, her last message, she had told this, she used to tell this often, and that was also her last message. She says to a lady who goes and cries 5 days before her Mahasamadhi, what will happen to us after you leave? Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi says, my child, if you want peace of mind, do not find fault with others. If you want peace of mind, do not find fault with others. Rather, learn to see your own faults. No one is a stranger. This world is your own. Learn to make this world your own, she says. No one is a stranger. Learn to make this world your own. This is her last message. This is the essence of Vedanta. Two dimensions. I have to understand my oneness with this manifest world. Simultaneously, I also have to discover my true nature. ಇದೆರಡು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು. What happens sometimes, people sit and study scriptures so much, and they will go inside, and they will separate themselves from these thoughts and this limiting I. But the moment they enter into any interaction with people around them, immediately they forget all the Vedanta and they will see crookedness, they will see sin. Swami Vivekananda says, weep that you still have to see sin. Another statement, wonderful statement. He says, never approach anything, never approach anything except as God. If you do, you throw a wheel of ignorance over it and you will see sin. So, Gnanamayam, that this vision should be made Gnanamayam. What is that Gnana? This universe and I are one. So that is outside expansion. But that I has to be discovered. It is not this I as Mahamedhananda, as a male, as a middle-aged person, as a sannyasi, not this I. I am one with this universe. That I have to discover inside. So it is a two-way expansion. Inside, I go and discover my infinite nature as consciousness. Outside, I discover my oneness with this manifest world, the whole universe. So that is expansion. Contraction is limiting myself to this outside animality, identity. I, so-and-so, this body, this beautiful or ugly body, this sick or healthy body, I, the owner of this Mercedes car, I, the owner of this matter, that matter. People spend their whole life in claiming ownership over matter. And when they die, they cannot take even a screw from their Mercedes car. They can't even understand this truth. The whole life is spent in animality level. So expansion, not in matter, in terms of consciousness, awareness. That is expansion. Yeah, I'll go ahead now. I have only 15 minutes.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ.
Yeah. Now, this expansion, behind this, we need more clarity. How do I expand? One idea. Swami Vivekananda had come to Mysore in November 1892. He was the guest of the then Divan Sheshadri Iyer, And he had a number of interactions with the Maharaja, Chamarajendra there. After going to America and his world-famous speech at the Parliament of Religions, he was very busy giving lectures across America. That was in 1893. 1895, he wrote a letter to the Maharaja of Mysore, who had also given some money, small amount, to support his trip to America. That letter, there is one statement. My noble prince, this life is short. The vanities of the world are transient. And they alone live who live for others. They alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. That is animality level. Living for myself is as good as being dead. You are not even alive. This life is short. Vanities of the world are ephemeral. They alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. Living for others is what is Buddha's statement. Bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukhaya. What is this others? If I function from this outside I will say, why should I do for my husband, my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law? They don't love me. Why should I do for them? This I is the outside I. From this outside I cannot feel any oneness with outside people, other eyes. It is only when I try to discover the deeper dimensions of my I, then I say this I and that I is one. Jesus says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Why should I love? And how should I love? Church has a devious thinking. Church says, convert him and then love him. If he is not a Christian, he will go to hell, eternal hell, roasted and poked for eternity. So save the poor soul, convert him. Jesus didn't say that. That is not at all his message. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Why should I love? Because he is you. He is your brother. Nah, he is you. It is one nature manifested as this universe. And that nature, Prakriti, when I go into Vedanta, I don't call it Prakriti, I call it consciousness. There is this Narsingh Mehta, 14th century Gujarati poet. He has one statement. It's beautifully translated into English. I don't know how it comes in Gujarati. What is this universe? This universe is Brahman dancing in sporting play in front of Brahman. This universe is Brahman dancing in sportive play in front of Brahman. What a wonderful statement. What a wonderful way to understand this universe. This universe is one consciousness manifested as energy, Shakti. I am that energy. I am that consciousness. This is the highest and greatest discovery of mankind, which is in Vedanta. This universe is one consciousness, one energy, manifested as energy. Now, how can I reshape energy? What is the best way I can reshape energy? Because this reshaping can either bind me or it can release me from this limited identification. The reshaping of energy can become the tool for releasing me from this narrow identification, animality level identification. How to do that? There is one word for that: contribution. Contributor. They alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. What is this contributor? Now, that is a very big topic. I will just give 3-4 ideas for that. Contributor means through work I contribute. By work, I mean reshaping of energy. My every reshaping of energy. What is reshaping of energy? My thoughts, my feelings, my actions. My thoughts, my words that I am uttering, and my actions. All of them, they will be for the good of this world. How do I do that? Do I sit and pray, oh, good to world, good to world? We do that. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Many people chant that. But is that all? Please keep in mind, it is not easy to practice this. The real test of spirituality is in practice. Shankaracharya there is a story. He is in Kashi, he is coming towards the Vishwanath temple, and there is a Chandala who comes and he touches, he brushes and against Shankaracharya, and the Acharya says, what did you do? You touched me. That's the famous incident. And that is Shiva himself. He says, who touched whom? Does Atman touch Atma? So you are still thinking you are a body, and you are a Brahmin body, and I am a Chandala. So all that knowledge, finally, it will not work out unless we put it into practice. Now, to break it down to something which we can immediately understand, practice, I have to become a karma yogi. What do I do when I have to become a karma yogi? My actions, Gita has 2 quotes for that. This is a very big topic. I'm just touching it and leaving there because I'll take 1 or 2 questions more. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. There must be efficiency in work. So first thing is I have to work. I have to give back, you see. There is so much I am taking from society. I have to give back. Same Gita, Sri Krishna tells, Loka sangraha, that is the word he uses. Whatever work you do, behind that should be this motive, Loka sangraha, good of the world. Loka sangraha. And then one more word he uses, Yajna. The whole universe is a give and take. Give, take, give, take. The whole universe is give and take. Remember this, that you are taking, you have to give back. Yajna chakra. Perform your actions as part of Yajna chakra. And the motive behind that is Loka sangraha. That is Krishna's words. Buddha says, Bahujana hitaya, Bahujana sukhaya. Swamiji puts it in English, they alone live who live for others, the rest are more dead than alive. What is this Yajna chakra? There is a quote from Einstein, one of my favorite quotes. We have put that in our college, in the principal's chamber in West Bengal. Albert Einstein, he writes, 100 times a day, how many times? 100 times, mind you, not once. 100 times a day, I remind myself that my inner and outer life depends upon the labors of other men, living and dead. 100 times a day, I remind myself that my inner and outer life depends upon the labors of other men, living and dead. Of course, women also. Inner life, your teachers, your parents taught you English. My teachers taught me, my parents taught me English. And I am uttering some sounds in this language called English. And through that, we are exchanging ideas. Suppose we had not been taught any language, how would we communicate? There will be not much communication. It will be only food, sleep, sex, shelter. That will all. Now that inner life, outer life, the specs I am wearing, the dress I am wearing, the food I am eating, everything depends upon the labors of other men, living and dead. Someone who built this, probably he's dead, but I am using this building now, the shelter of this building. 100 times a day, I remind myself that my inner and outer life depends upon the labors of other men, living and dead. That's the first part. So the second part to that. And that, I must exert myself. I must exert myself in order to give back in the same measure as I have received and am still receiving. And that I must exert myself in order to give back in the same measure as I have received and am still receiving. That's why Einstein is a great man. Not just for this E is equal to mc square. I am taking so much, I have to give back. People forget this fundamental truth. This is Yajna Chakra. And everywhere it is, taking is glorified. How much can I take? Everything is given free, and everyone wants to go on accumulating. Go on accumulating. 7 generations should eat. That much wealth they will accumulate. And they don't understand that reshaping is going to imprison them for maybe 7 janmas. Nothing is yours. And you claim ownership over it. That has to change. And for that, I need this idea. It's a Yajna Chakra. I am taking, I have to give back. The more you give, more healthy you will be. And that giving is what we call contribution. I keep pointing this out to our young students who study so hard, competitive exam, this, that. They work very hard to get a job. I ask them, why are you studying so hard? They say to get a job. So what happens when you get a job? Life is settled. I ask them particularly, I am giving you this job offer letter. What will you go home and tell your parents? They'll say, Kelsa sikto, nan bekid kelsa sikto, life settle aito. You see, it is self-centered thinking. Self-centered thinking. I got a job. My life is settled. Safe. What safe? Next moment, maybe your heart attack. But still we think, I am safe. Actually, when I get a job, what I get is responsibility. Kelsa siktu andre javabdari siktu. Society is telling you are now worthy of taking responsibility. We trust you are capable of taking responsibility. Take this job. It's a responsibility. And what is the responsibility? It's a responsibility to contribute. ಈ ಐಡಿಯಾನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕೆಲಸ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಣ. So they keep jumping from job to job. There is no satisfaction. 50,000, 60,000, no happiness. 60 is nothing, sir. Everyone is greedy. Everyone is greedy. So go on accumulating wealth. Go on becoming greedy. Perfect animals. And then suddenly it will be a collapse. And we'll find we are all suffering together. Now from that background, if I have to evolve, I have to break out of that. The whole community is thinking, how many flats, how many cars, how much wealth you have, what is your bank balance, what is your salary? Are you evolving? No question about that. You are going to secure your life here. 2 insurances, life insurances, health insurances. And you don't know. Tonight maybe your heart attack. But still, it should be practical. Yeah, immense idealism with immense practicality. Swami Vivekananda says that is a combination we should have. Immense idealism with immense practicality. But without idealism, only practicality keeps us bound to the animal level. I can break out of this through action, through karma. By performing that karma as karma yoga. Yoga is union. So karma yoga is that action, those actions that unite me with this truth that I am one with this universe. So how do I express that oneness with the universe? The motive behind my actions will be Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya. The maximum good of maximum number of people. How can I do that? First, I have to work. Second, I have to do that work with excellence. Third, I have to do it with a human touch. Fourth, I have to do it with ethics. ಧರ್ಮದ ಚೌಕಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. In Mahabharata, Vedavyasa, towards the end of Mahabharata, he says, with uplifted hands, I am telling people you can enjoy Artha and Kama through Dharma. But why are people not listening? He asks. Even in Mahabharata. Even now people think, to enjoy Artha and Kama, you have to sacrifice Dharma. Vyasa says, no, you don't have to sacrifice Dharma. The moment you sacrifice Dharma, you may get your Artha and Kama, but you end up like an animal. And you die an animal. You are born animal, you live like an animal, you die like an animal. That is a waste of human birth. So what to do? So this idea is you have to evolve. One grand method given by our Vedic rishis is this Gayatri Mantra. Vishwamitra Maharishi saw that in golden letters. He didn't write this. That Gayatri Mantra, he didn't sit and write. He saw it. Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Awaken my Dhi Shakti, Medha Shakti, higher intelligence. We function with lower intelligence, animal level intelligence. We can also function using the higher intelligence. Gayatri Mantra is a prayer for that. Awaken this higher intelligence, which helps me to discover my oneness with this universe. So that oneness can be discovered through my actions when it is performed as unselfish actions, other-centered, universe-centered actions. That doesn't mean I'll not do anything to myself. I will get money. I will get power, position, name. But they will all be byproducts, very good, healthy byproducts of actions done for the good of this universe. That will come. So how to do this? First, do action. Do it with excellence. Do it with a human touch. Do it in the framework of Dharma. Expand slowly. I am doing this for myself. I am doing this for my family, my relatives. Expand it. I am doing this. Doing this means the good of me, good of my family, good of my institution, good of my society, good of this environment. The maximum good of maximum number of people. Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya. That should be the goal. And anything which opposes, goes against the maximum good of maximum number of people, that should be rejected. If it is doing good to me but not good to my family, no, I'll not do it. Good for me and my family, but not good for my institution, my people around me, then I should not do that. We should not do that. Good for this, the whole people around me, but not good for Prakriti, then we should not do that. This sense will come only when we reflect deeply. And it's not just reflecting deeply, it is reshaping of energy which will purify the mind. When the mind becomes pure through contemplation and through action, through meditation, through love for God, that mind will slowly reflect the inner divinity. All this attempt to any of these yogas is to discover that. And karma yoga is something everyone does. And that is foundation. You may sit in meditation hours together. And the moment you have to interact with people, you frown, you see their faults, you irritated, and all your peace is lost. So you start hating this universe. And you go back into your meditation self, how peaceful I am. You talk about all devotion, love and all, but someone else worships God with some other name and you hate that person. He will go to hell. Only my God should be loved. And all your devotion cuts you off from the truth that you are one with this universe. You may talk all Vedanta, but when it comes to reality, you first protect yourself and your whatever matter you want. All Vedanta is left out. So the true test of anything is in action. And that is Karma Yoga. It's a very deep subject, and more we reflect on our actions, the motives behind our actions, we'll be able to see this selfishness. I conclude with the statement of Vivekananda. He says, renunciation and service are the twin ideals of India. Renunciation and service are the twin ideals of India. Intensify her in these two channels and the rest will take care of itself. Tyaga ಮತ್ತು ಸೇವೆ, twin ideals. What do we understand by the word tyaga, renunciation? Three things. Three things which bind me down to animality. Three things which prevent me from evolving, vikasa, evolving to my higher nature or higher levels of awareness. First thing I have to renounce is selfishness. Second, egoism, which comes from selfishness. Third, laziness. Imagine if every Indian could renounce these three: selfishness, egoism, laziness. This will be heaven on earth. But it is not easy. How much ever you may think or do, unless you work it out in action, there is no proof of that. And it is seen even in very sincere people, sadhakas. They fall when it comes to practice. The proof of the pudding is in eating. So when you meet fellow human beings, how do you meet? How do you interact? What are your thoughts? What are your motives? It is self-preservation, self-glorification. You are just a beautiful, rich, intelligent animal. How do I evolve? Karma Yoga can help that. Tyaga, seve. Tyaga, there is renounce, selfishness, egoism, laziness. Seve, service. Swamiji says, शिव मानकर जीव की सेवा करना है. शिवज्ञाने जीव सेवा. Serve fellow human beings, looking upon them as the Lord himself. Inside, I give up these three barriers: selfishness, egoism, laziness. Each of them, you will need 1 hour, 2 to 3 hours to understand each of these. How selfishness functions, how egoism functions. Very, 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 very subtle. And deep reflection only will reveal how it functions inside us. Then, outside world, I have to connect with people. How do I connect? Every manifestation, every person, everything that is manifested in the universe, I see it as God himself, the Lord himself. Now that is the ideal. Discover the truth inside and realize the same truth is outside and connect with it, both inside and outside. Karma can become an instrument for that. That is Karma Yoga. Yes. I have shared some thoughts. I'll be happy to take any questions you have. I have finished my time. 1 hour.
Thank you, Swamiji. I think there are people ready to ask questions. Dharini was going to ask a question. Did you want to ask Dharini?
Yes, ma'am.
Then Vishwajit ji can ask. Yeah.
Can
Go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, just about the selflessness, I wanted to ask if there's any difference between being selfless and having some self-respect. Is having self-respect also, does that come under selfishness?
No. No. When someone is, say, basic, this thing, dignity, I am a human being, because this sometimes leads to wrong understanding. It is very subtle. There is a person who is degrading me, denying me that dignity. He is reshaping energy in a very negative way. It's a negative reshaping. He does not recognize oneness with me. He wants to use me. He finds joy in giving me pain, in degrading me. That is a negative reshaping of energy. As a Karma Yogi, practitioner of Karma Yogi, first I have to understand from what level he is coming. He is coming from an animal level. Now, what should I do? Remember, life is not just a series of situations and circumstances. Life is our response to situations and circumstances. Response to situations and circumstances created by people around us. My husband, my wife, my children, my brother, my sister, my mother-in-law, father-in-law, my neighbors, my colleagues. They create these situations. But that is not life. How I respond, that is what makes my life. Now, he has reshaped energy negatively. I should recognize that. When I recognize this, I feel sorry for the person. And what will be my response? This president of 13th president of the Ramakrishna or Swami, Mahamedhananda, he says, each one of us, we have to become a refinery. Refinery in the sense, you may give me a negative reshaping of energy, but I will refine it and give back forgiveness. If possible, love. This is very important. Someone gives me something negative, I should not receive it and keep cursing them inside and then self-harming myself. Women do that sometimes. All kinds of psychosocial disorders come into their mind, psychosomatic disorders, because they cannot handle that negativity. And they'll harm themselves, their body, their mind. Once we learn how to reshape this energy and we become refineries, we start feeling sorry for the person for his negative reshaping that he's doing, because he will have to pay for that. Karma is mathematically precise. When you take it to this understanding, you don't talk about dignity then. Dignity of what? Dignity of the body, dignity of my education, dignity of my wealth. Dignity from what? Whose dignity are we talking? When you talk from this level, animality level, there is, yes, there should be. You should give respect, take respect, all at that level. But when you're talking about a Karma Yoga, you won't have these phrases there. You will see everything as reshaping of energy. And when it is reshaped, practicality is required. Immense idealism with immense practicality. There is a parable. Sri Ramakrishna tells this. Two parables I tell. Very wonderful. One day, a brahmachari was passing through the forest and the cowherd boys there came and told him, please don't go that way. There is a ferocious cobra. He bites and kills anyone who goes in that path. Brahmachari smiled and he continued. And they said, don't go. We tell you. He will kill you. He says, don't worry. I can take care of myself. He went ahead and sure enough, the cobra came, raising its foot, ready to bite. But this brahmachari knew a mantra. He uttered the mantra and the fellow fell like an earthworm on the ground. Then the brahmachari scolded him. What is this you're doing? Killing people for no reason. And he gave him a mantra diksha. Utter this mantra, become a better person. I'll come back again after some time. Now the snake had received the mantra. It started repeating the mantra. Mantra is what? Mantra is sound vibration. And the whole universe is nothing but vibration, energy. So that repetition of the mantra brought about a transformation in its thinking. And it no longer could eat rats and other living beings. So it started eating fruits and its nature changed. The cowherd boys also noticed it after some time that this fellow is no longer hissing at them. And he seems to be moving slowly. One day, a brave cowherd boy came, plucked up all his courage, caught the snake by its tail, whirled it around, and dashed it on the ground. The snake spitted spit out the blood and it was unconscious. And the boys thought they had killed the snake. They went away very happy. The snake came back to consciousness, somehow crawled to its hole. And from then on, it stopped coming out in the daytime. It would come out only at night, eat some fruits and leaves, and leave. After some time, the brahmachari came, and these cowherds very joyfully told him, "Now you go. You have nothing to fear. We have killed the snake." But the brahmachari knew the snake cannot die. I have given it the siddha mantra. It cannot die without the siddhi of the mantra. He came to that place and he called out. He had given it a name. And when he called out, the snake recognized the Guru's voice. It came out. And the Guru was shocked to see its poor condition. He says, "What happened to you? You look all skin and bones." Snake doesn't have bones, but for the story. Then the snake says, "Oh, I have stopped eating all these rats and other things. I cannot hurt, even think of hurting someone. So I eat only fruits and leaves, so I have become like this." The brahmachari says, "No, no, that cannot be the only reason. I see so much of damage to you. What happened?" Then the snake had to think for some time. It had become so sattvic, it forgot that the cowherd boys had harmed it. And at last it remembered and said, "Oh, I remember now. These cowherd boys, they don't know that I have changed. So one day they bashed me on the ground and all these things happened to me." Then the brahmachari scolds him. He says, "What a fool you are. I told you don't bite, but I didn't tell you don't hiss. I told you don't bite, don't kill, but I didn't tell you don't hiss. You should have hissed at them and frightened them." That is immense idealism with immense practicality. This universe is an I or one, but there is a manifestation here which can harm this body. As a grihastha, I have to protect this body. It can mean dignity, it can mean preserving this body, my life itself, but I have to take steps to protect that. But with this understanding that this is a negative reshaping, I will not give back an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That is a society which is at the animal levels thinking. Forgiveness, that comes from thinking at the deeper level. So when you talk about dignity, it's so many things involved in it. You should not allow anyone to harm you, but you should not make it an excuse to unknowingly feed your ego. It can happen. Ego functions very subtle ways. I don't know if I answered you, but we'll have to reflect on this.
Wow. Thank you, Swamiji. I think we'll take one more question. I think we can take Vishwajit ji's question now.
Namaste, Swamiji.
Namaste.
Very enlightening, very useful talk. Thank you so much. But I think my question is probably already almost answered similar to the previous question. But I'll state my question anyway in my own way. Probably the answer is already there. But I was thinking in this expansion mode of working and going beyond the self and working, for society at large, etc. Or even within a company, you're working somewhat selflessly. There are situations where people can take advantage of your uh, uh, because of your thought process of giving yourself selflessly, so let us say. And I'm wondering where in these situations where skill comes into play in recognizing that people may be taking advantage of you, and therefore you have to skillfully navigate it and somehow counteract that, or sometimes you just let it go for greater good. Some dilemmas like this may come up. So
Advantage in what sense?
uh, maybe you stand to lose something.
What? Lose what?
Um, maybe
Money?
it could be money, or it could be money, yes. And the loss of money itself may not be a bit, I mean, for sometimes loss of money itself may not be such a thing, but it's just the fact that somebody's taken advantage of you unfairly. So it's more of maybe a psychological loss, if you will, right?
Yeah. It is that person is functioning from the animal level.
Right.
When you function from animal level, you will be rooted in selfishness. Animal level is not evil. Handsome animal, intelligent animal, rich animal. Food, sleep, sex, shelter. Such a person will always try to make use of other people for his benefit. Majority in society will be at that level. And society doesn't mean people outside my family. It can be my family. It can be me. You should never forget that. I can also be functioning like that unknowingly. When a husband and wife or parents and children have fights, it is usually ego, selfishness, laziness. These are the three stumbling blocks. And some people will not recognize it. No, I am not egoistic. You are egoistic. No, I am not selfish. You are more selfish than. Even if mine is less, yours is more. They're like childish. So many divorces, so many fightings. Now, how do I handle this? It's my colleague or my own family member, husband, wife. How do I handle it? One, we can pray for them. We are all interconnected. We are all interconnected. We can pray for them. Second, I will hiss when he tries to harm me. I'll hiss when he tries to harm me. And if it is an individual, I say that is the nature of manifestation there. Pray for him, and there may be intelligent ways of avoiding it again. Without, the main thing here is not that he is taking advantage. The main thing here is it should not embitter me. The moment it embitters me, my refining or reshaping is not going well. I have to refine this energy which comes to me from society. And 80% will be negative energy coming to me. There will be crookedness, there will be selfishness, there will be matlab, and there will be ego. 10 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ನೀವು ಹಂಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ನಾವು ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Ayyo Rama, you are holding on to something that happened 10 years ago. I feel so sorry for you. And that should not manifest as pity, it should manifest as prayer. ಒಳ್ಳೆದಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಒಳ್ಳೆದಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಒಳ್ಳೆದಾಗ್ಲಿ. And prayers have power. Mother's prayer works for the children. Same thing can work when we have that mother's love. I am one with this universe. That is the grandest truth discovered in mankind by our wishes. So when you talk about advantage, you should be you take a paper, put into columns. What is this advantage? My mind says, oh, they will take advantage of me. People tell me this. Oh, advantage. Okay, right. What are all the advantages? He will snatch away your car. He will snatch away your family. What is this advantage? And then how I can protect it, prevent it. And finally, what does it mean to me as an individual who is desiring to evolve inside? What can I take away? This body, it will go anytime. And that doesn't mean I have to give it up. There is another parable, I'll close with that. Once a guru told his disciples, this whole universe is Narayana. Okay, very good. Guru Vakyadali Shraddha ittu. So next day, he is returning from Bhiksha. And there is a commotion in the town, on the main road. People are running helter-skelter. And there is a elephant which is rushing down the road. And there is a mahout sitting on the elephant and he's shouting, this fellow has gone, must run away. Means he is intoxicated, he wants his mate. And at that moment, better not stand in front of an elephant. He is searching for his mate. Anything in front, he will smash, he will kill. Everyone is running away. This disciple, suddenly he remembered his Guru Vakya. Though my Guru has told the whole universe is Narayana, so Hathi is also Narayana. He stood right in the center of the road with folded hands, with sincere devotion. He said, Hathi Narayana, Namo Namaha. Now Mahout is shouting at the top of his voice, run you fool. But this fellow says, no, you don't know. My Guru has told, everything is Narayana. This Hathi is Narayana. I believe my Guru's words. So he stood, Hathi Narayana, Namo Namaha. Even in that intoxicated state, the elephant understood this fellow is a good fellow, idiot. So he didn't kill him. It lifted him and flung him away. And he fell unconscious. And the villagers told Guru, see your stupid fellow, student, he's dead. Go and see. He rushed, picked him up, brought him to the ashram. And a lot of care. Slowly, the boy opened his eyes. And the Guru asked him, my dear child, why did you stand in front of the elephant? Then this disciple told, Guruji, yesterday you told the whole universe is Narayana. Yes. See what your Narayana did to me. The Hathi is also Narayana. Yes. See what this Hathi Narayana did to me. Then Guru told, yes, my child, Hathi is Narayana. And he has done this to you. Okay, tell me, my child, who was sitting on the elephant? That Mahout was sitting. Who is Mahout? Is he not Narayana? Yeah, he's also Narayana. And what did that Narayana tell you? Oh, that Narayana told me to run away. Why did you not listen to that Narayana? Mahout is also Narayana. And that Narayana is shouting and telling you, run away. Immense idealism with immense practicality. In this, there is a tension created. It's a wonderful topic. You see divinity, but you also know it is functioning at this level. So as long as you have to preserve your body, You have to be this immense idealism with immense practicality. Swamiji says, I want this combination. Hathi is Narayana. Mahut is also Narayana. Sri Ramakrishna says, tiger is Narayana, but don't go and hug the tiger. He will say, thank you, you are my breakfast. You have to be practical. When you are living in this world, this matter, the creation is like that. It eats. And because I have a sense of individuality, there is fear. And there is a heart and desire to protect myself. But if I can expand and say, I am this universe, then who is the tiger, who is the elephant, who is the mahut, who is the student? I am everything. So Krishna says, if you think you are killing or if you think someone is being killed, you are foolish. There is nothing killed, nothing being killed. And nobody is killing anyone. What? He says the universe is one consciousness, manifested as energy. Because you have limited your identification with one body, and our identification is pathetic. It's not even with the body. Body itself is a headache. I have to preserve this body. I have to make this up. I have to preserve this, preserve this. We extend outside to mud. Who are you? I am the 30-40 site owner. There is my identity. Who are you? I am that Mercedes car you see. I am the owner. My identity is gone outside. Who are you? I am an IAS officer. When? Ex-IAS. 20 years ago. Who are you? I am a CEO. When? 30 years ago. MLA. We cling to identities outside. Releasing ourselves from all these identities. We don't want to call it false, but it is ephemeral. That's why it is called false. Because nothing is yours. But in the same breath, you say everything is yours. As long as you function within this limited identity, nothing is yours. But when you expand and you say, I am this universe, everything is yours. So the Undaka Upanishad, that is the question. What is that by knowing which everything else is wrong? That is yourself. Discover the truth inside. How do I do that? 4 parts. Karma Yoga is one part, which is foundational. Use all of that, but the testing is done in karma. And because you cannot stay without action. How can you perform those actions as yoga? That is karma yoga. It will require a lot of thinking on this. But when your mind tells, oh, they will take advantage of me, stop. Ask yourself, what advantage? I have to preserve. I am a family man. I have to protect my family. I have to protect my income. That much how to do without becoming bitter and not allowing them to walk over. Dignity was a question. Yeah, I have to maintain my dignity. But behind that, the thought process should always be, this is a negative transformation of energy. I should become a refinery. The moment I do that, I evolve. I evolve. He will continue to be as he is. I evolve. I hope I made sense.
Thank you very much, Swamiji. Very useful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Swamiji, there are 2 more questions. Shall we quickly take them?
Yeah. I can take them.
I think 8 o'clock we told, but I
have time.
Okay.
I have time.
Okay.
Because I am here in Jammu, only next is dinner time. Until then, I am free.
Okay, Swamiji. Pratibha, please go on. Pratibha, and then Karthik.
Krishna Maharaj.
Namaste.
ಮಹಾರಾಜ್ ನೀವೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ನಕ್ಷತ್ರಗಳ ಸಂಯೋಗದಿಂದ ಹಾರೋಸ್ಕೋಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಕ್ಷಸ ಗುಣ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಗುಣ ಅಥವಾ ದೇವಗುಣ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದರಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲಮ್ಮ. ನಾನೇನ್ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಿಕಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀರೋ ನೀವು, ಆ ಯಾವ ಹಂತ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆ ನಕ್ಷತ್ರಗಳ ಒಂದು ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಇಂದ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅವು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನೇನ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲಮ್ಮ,
ಅದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ,
ಅದು ಸೂಚಿಸುತ್ತೆ.
ಈಗ ನಾವು ರಾಕ್ಷಸ ಗುಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಕರ್ಮಫಲದಿಂದ ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು ಮಾಡೋ ಒಂದು ಸೇವೆ ಅಥವಾ ತ್ಯಾಗದಿಂದಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಅಥವಾ ದೇವಗುಣಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಖಂಡಿತಮ್ಮ. ಅದು ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಿಮ್ದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ನಾನು ರಾಕ್ಷಸ ಗಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ನಾನು ರಾಕ್ಷಸ ಅಲ್ಲ. ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆಯ ಸ್ತರ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. Okay. See, it's the question she asked was, you said this stars tell what level, what gana I am. Rakshasa gana, Manushya gana, Deva gana, animality, humanity, divinity. So, if I am born like that, can I evolve to humanity, divinity? Because stars have defined it. So, I answered, no, stars do not determine what level of awareness you have. Stars, the position of the stars at the moment of your birth just reveal what is your nature, what is the level of consciousness you have evolved into in so many lifetimes. That is the miracle of creation. Karma is mathematically precise. Can you even understand that? 7 billion people, they are born at that time, which reveals their nature of awareness, level of awareness. What a miracle it is. Now, that only shows it's a reflection, it's a mirror. Here is something on your nose, here is something. It only tells me what is the level of awareness. That doesn't determine me. And Manusha Gana, Deva Gana, Rakshasa Gana is not a permanent stamp on me. It only says dominant thoughts are animal level thoughts. I have to evolve, means I start with thinking. Shravana, this is what we are doing now. We are listening. Shravana. Manana, I reflect on it. I try to understand. Nididhyasana, I contemplate, put it into practice. That is the way I evolve from the animal level to humanity level, Manushatva. Kuvempu says, Deva Manavanagu, Vishwamanavanagu. Forget Vishwamanava. Let me rise to that level. But that is the goal of human life. Evolution, Vikasa, is the goal of human life. Stars only show me what is the dominant nature I have, what it will be like the chart. Now, this leads us to this question, fundamental question, one of the oldest questions in philosophy, the conflict between free will and determination. Free will and determination. Is everything determined that I have to happen like this, it has to happen like that? Initially, we have to say, no, it is not determined. We begin with this answer, no, it is not determined. You have free will. How to understand that? The example given is like this. Sri Ramakrishna also gives this example. It is there in philosophy. A cow is tethered to a peg. Guta and Kivala, it is tethered to the peg, beaten into the ground. The cow is tied. Now, the cow is tied under a lush green covering tree, and there is lush green grass, there is clean water. The cow can drink the water, eat the grass, chew the curd, sit in the shelter of the tree, or it can walk out into the sun and stand. Or it can walk, it can dance, anything it can do. But the length of the rope and the place where it is tied, there is no choice there. It is determined. Determined by its own previous reshaping of energy. That reshaping of energy has determined where I am born, which family I am born, which time I am born, what is the nature of this body, mind I have. That is the place, the rope is the body and mind I have. All this is created, determined by my previous reshaping of energy. Still, with all these being determined, I still have the free will to sit, eat the grass, drink the water, chew the cud, or stand, or walk, or dance. That free will I have. So there is no conflict there. Even in whatever situation, a bad marriage, bad job, how do I handle my thoughts and feelings? Life is not a series of situations and circumstances. Life is our response to situations and circumstances. That response is the key. That is the point. It is a dynamic point. It is not a fixed point. Every moment I have to put my finger on that. And in that response, I evolve. And that response is the freedom I have. I can choose that. Otherwise, life will become meaningless. Now, having said this, at beginning, we have to understand this. When we evolve, it's a different realization. Let's not think about that now, because it will lead to confusion. We have not even started, and when we say, what happens if I rise to the 25th floor? You climb 24 floors, then you'll understand. Someone asked Ramana Maharshi, what happens after self-realization? So Ramana Maharshi says, you first attain self-realization, and then if you have a question, ask me. You will not have this question. So when we begin, we have this question. Let us take this answer. There is free will. I have this, and I can exercise it. Otherwise, none of this makes sense. Karma yoga, Jnana yoga, Bhakti yoga, Raja yoga, nothing makes sense. I have to evolve, and through actions, I can evolve. And the stars only show me the kind of body, the kind of mind, and the kind of things I have brought with my own previous reshaping of energy. Now let me reshape it in the most unselfish manner. Ideals, I told Pashutva to Manushatva, to rise. Sri Ramakrishna puts it in Bengali like this. Jar man hosh hoyeche shei manush. Only he can be called a human being whose mind has awakened. Awakened to what? Higher thoughts, higher ideals. we talk about three ideals for every student, for every one of us. Three ideals. Ideal is something which becomes my identity. Ideal is not world model. That is not ideal. Ideal is something which is me. Adarsha andre nano. Ideal is something which is me. That's my identity. So three ideals. Nano satyavadi. मैं सत्यवादी हूँ. नानु जितेंद्रिय. मैं जितेंद्रिय हूँ. नानु परोपकारी. मैं परोपकारी हूँ. These three should become my identity. I am an honest person. I have self-control. I always strive for the good of others. When this becomes my self-identity, then the actions that are born of this identity, they will help me to evolve. I hope I made sense.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Karthik, please go on.
Yeah. Maharaj, I have two questions.
Yes, please.
First question is, so as you said, Swami Vivekananda, complete works of Swami Vivekananda, he focuses immensely on service and karma yoga. But when I read the original commentaries of Shankaracharya, that I don't see that much focus on karma yoga as such, or even the way he defines karma yoga seems to be entirely different.
Yes. Yes.
So my first question is, I mean, I've always struggled with this contradiction. So do you think there is a contradiction there? That is one. And second question is, when I read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, there is one person who talks in terms of service and things like that, and Sri Ramakrishna severely
calls him. If God comes, will you ask for wells and roads and hospitals? He says.
Exactly. That's a pretty. I mean, he scolds him very badly.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, you might remember the name. I don't remember the
Jadu
name.
Malik. He was a Zamindar.
Jadu Malik. Yeah. So he scolds him very badly, and he says, "Who are you to do good to this world? You are nothing like a crab on the ocean." So I want to understand if there is a contradiction even there, Vivekananda and
yeah. When we say Shankaracharya and Vivekananda, when we talk about this karma, their definition or their understanding is totally different. When Shankaracharya talks about karma, it is not this action, it is the rituals. He had to fight with the Karma Kanda, Mandana Mishra and others. Through rituals, you discover the truth. He says, no, it is not rituals. It is just a preliminary step. And there are so many ways of understanding that. But generally, we can understand when Swami Vivekananda talks about karma and Shankaracharya talks about karma, it is not the same meaning. Their karma is ritualistic work and all those things that you have to do, and you will go to heaven if you do this, you will get this if you do this. He says, going to heaven and doing all these yaga, homas to achieve this, that is not the goal of life. The goal of life is self-discovery. That will not come through your actions, performed with these selfish desires for enjoying this world or enjoying the heaven. That is the Vedic age. You want to go to heaven, do this. You want to have a child, do this. You want to kill your enemy, do this yaga. So much of karma. So he says, no, that is not the goal of life, going to heaven or anywhere. He changed the whole Sanatana Dharma, Shankaracharya. I have not seen a Hindu who would like to go to heaven. I have not met any Hindu who says, I would like to go to heaven and enjoy with Indra. Even a common villager, he will say, I'll go to Kailasa. I'll go to Vaikuntha. I will go to Chamundeshwari's Loka. He doesn't want to go to Indra and enjoy stupid pleasures, enjoy women, enjoy wine. That transformation Shankaracharya brought about by saying that is not the goal of life. Those rituals which help you to enjoy this. He says the goal of life is discovery, self-discovery. You have to discover who am I. For that, Dukrum Karane will not help. Either do that through your Atma Vichar or Bhagavad Bhakti. Nahi nahi rakshati Dukrum Karane. Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam. So the karma that Shankaracharya talks is different. And the karma which Swamiji talks is what I presented now. Karma here is reshaping of energy. And that reshaping of energy should be done. How? Swamiji says, by looking upon people around you as God himself. Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. जीव की सेवा करना है. कैसे करना है? उसको शिव मानकर. Never approach anything except as God. If you do, you throw a wheel of ignorance over it and you will see sin. anything he says. But the moment I see a fellow human being, I see the body, and when the moment I interact, I see the personality. It is most natural thing that happens to us. I see a body, I see a personality. Beautiful body, attractive body, ugly body, beautiful mind, ugly mind, and all my interactions are immediately limited, distorted by this perception of body and personality. I have to see the divinity. I have to see at least the energy, or go behind and see that consciousness. To do that, I have to first see it inside me. I cannot see outside what I don't have realized inside. And it is not that this will happen and then that will happen. Somebody says, let it happen together, simultaneously. So the motto of Ramakrishna order that Swami Vivekananda gave is Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha, and for your own self-emancipation and the good of the world. For your own self-emancipation and the good of the world. Emancipation, mukti. Mukti means what? It is not going to heaven or hell. Not hell. Not going to some Vaikuntha, Kailasa or anything. Mukti means freedom from the bondage which limits me into this identification that I am an individual. And this sense of I an individual does not stop, or it does not drop off with the death of the body. It continues in Sukshma Sharira. And I again create another body for myself, because that owner is still there. Kartru, Bhoktru, he's still there. The body falls. Another body is created according to the reshaping of energy done in this life and previous lives. Sanchita karma, prarabdha karma, we call that. The fruits of actions. I have to break through that and come out of it. How? Trying to discover the truth inside, that I am not just this body, mind, I am consciousness. And it is not just this body and mind I am seeing in front of me, it is consciousness. That is one way. How to see this? God. I am serving God. Now, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is written by Master Mahashaya, his householder disciple. But what Sri Ramakrishna taught the disciples, much of that is not in Gospel. When Master Mahashaya, Mahamedhananda Gupta, he would come on weekends, on holidays. He was a headmaster. But these young college boys, who later became Vivekananda and his band, they spent more time with Sri Ramakrishna. And he would send out all these householders, close the door, and tell them his deeper teachings. And again, he would send out these young boys and close the doors and teach Narendranath Datta, later Vivekananda. So what Vivekananda gives is considered as the final teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. Because they all knew he gave him something special, something which he could understand. The others were not ready to understand. Even then, there is one anecdote in the Gospel itself which gives clue to why Swamiji gave this thought. Shivagnane Jiva Seva. Seva means what? You love fellow human beings. And how is love expressed? Only through seva. What kind of seva? Swamiji says, Murkha Devo Bhava, Daridra Devo Bhava, Rogi Narayana. These are all the epithets he gave. Let the patient be your Narayana. Let this ignorant man be your God. Let this poor, destitute man be your God. Serve God. How will you serve the God as a poor man? Give him what he requires. Kali pete dharma hoina. Hotte kali idre dharma agalla anta heloru Sri Ramakrishna. So give him food, give him shelter. There are three levels of giving. First is food. People say Mahadana. It is not Mahadana. Annadana is not Mahadana. It saves your life, but that is not Mahadana. That is the fundamental level of dana. People make a huge fuss of it. Annadana is saving life. Second is Jnanadana, where you help him to stand on his feet. You give him knowledge so that he can earn his food. You don't go on giving him diksha. And then higher than this knowledge of two kinds, right? Paravidya, aparavidya. Higher than this knowledge which helps him to live in this world is this knowledge which helps him to discover his true nature. That is Atma-Jnana, spiritual life. That is the highest dana. Annadana, Jnanadana, Adhyatmika dana. Adhyatmika dana only a guru can give. But there are three levels. Swamiji says, serve fellow human beings through the poor, the sick, and the ignorant. All the service activities are oriented towards this service, which is as a worship of God, worship of Shiva. It's so difficult. Easy to sit and do all your Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, Rudram, Chamakam, and you say, oh, I'm so spiritual. You come out and deal with the fellow human being. come out and work in the hospital and see how you can see this God. You see body, you see crookedness. Can you penetrate that and see divinity? That is the real challenge of spirituality. That's why Swamiji said, Atmano mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. Until you get into serving fellow human beings, your spirituality is untested. Now, Sri Ramakrishna one day is sitting in his room and he tells there are three things Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught the Vaishnavas. First one is Name Ruchi. You should develop taste to repeat God's name. Next is Jive Daya, compassion for human beings. Third is Vaishnava Seva. This is the limiting factor of Vaishnavas. They are fundamentalist, very narrow-minded. Don't mind if there is someone Vaishnavite. Generally, it is. It's only Vishnu, only way to go. Krishna is the only supreme God. That is not Vedanta. Anyhow, each faith to himself. Now, Sri Ramakrishna told this and he went into an ecstatic mood. And when he came back, he said, what? Jive Daya? Who are you to show Daya? You yourself as a worm on earth and you will show Daya to God's creation. He says, no, not Daya, Seva. Jive Seva. He says, it is Shiva himself who is manifested as this universe. Consciousness manifested as this universe. And you, the same consciousness, you say you will show Daya to all the others. That is ego functioning there. And in that Daya, there are so many people who are left out of that ambit. You worship Shiva? Oh. You worship Kali? Oh, she is a girl without frock. Oh. And you say, oh, Daya. And Vaishnava Seva. Only those who worship Vishnu are to be served. So Sri Ramakrishna says, no. Not Jiva Seva, Daya, Jiva Seva. Jiva Seva. Shiva Mankar Jiv Ki Seva. Narendranath Datta, later Vivekananda, he was a college boy. When he came out, he said, what a wonderful amalgamation, what a wonderful harmony of Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita, Advaita I found in these words. And if I ever get an opportunity, I will spread this across this world, this message. And later he gave that as Shiv Mankar Jiv Ki Seva Karna. Atmano Mokshartam Jagat Hitaya. Jagat Hita is done with this bhava that I am serving Shiva himself. That is a real test of spirituality. When you see your husband, when you see your wife, when you see your mother-in-law, father-in-law, children or neighbor, can you see the divinity within? That is true test of spirituality. You just test and see. We see body, we see personality. Now that seva is not at all against spiritual growth. And what Sri Ramakrishna thought is what Swami Vivekananda propagated. And gospel is not the entire teaching of Sri Ramakrishna. It is Vivekananda, who is the best interpreter, and other direct disciples. Everyone had their own level of understanding. Sri Ramakrishna himself says, maximum number of petals among these boys is 20, but this Narayan is 1,000 petals. And he says, some people have ecstasy. Sri Ramakrishna says, no, don't think like that. They are very shallow water. When an elephant steps into a shallow water, there are ripples and water splashes out. He says, you are such a deep lake. A herd of elephants coming in, there will not be a ripple in you. That was the depth of Vivekananda. So what he thought is what Sri Ramakrishna preached. I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, but I think at one place, Swami Yogananda also, who was one of direct disciples, he also revolts against Swami Vivekananda.
No, he doesn't revolt. He could not understand that. Okay. He could not understand that. And later, all the direct disciples, mainly Swami Brahmananda, he could understand that. Each of them, we don't measure them all equally. They cannot be equal. And Sri Ramakrishna himself is the proof of that. He says, nobody equal to this Narayan in understanding, in spiritual strength. Swami Brahmananda, who was the Manasaputra of Sri Ramakrishna, the first president of the Ramakrishna order, he also accepted. They all had some confusion and then hesitation, because this is not what Sri Ramakrishna had told them. And they said, you are doing this because you went to West, you have brought all these ideas. Then it was Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi. He had no Eastern education. She said, I can clearly see it is Sri Ramakrishna's power working through Narayan, and what he says is correct. Master Mahashaya himself, Mahamedhananda Gupta, he could not accept Swamiji's teachings for long. In Kashi, one day, he asked Holy Mother, who has come there, he says, all this hospital and other activities Narayan has started, he sends word, is it what Sri Ramakrishna preached? Sri Sharada Devi says, clearly I'm telling you, this is what Sri Ramakrishna came for, and what he is doing is what Sri Ramakrishna has told. After that, he stopped. Master Mahashaya said, I accept now.
Thanks, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Thank you, Swamiji. I guess Pujita was going to kind of do a vote of thanks, but I guess she had to drop off. So yeah, no, it was really, really wonderful, Swamiji, and I'm sure everyone here will agree with me on that. I joined thinking that, okay, it's going to be another Karma Yoga talk, and we know what's next. We know what he's going to say next. But it was wonderful. It was definitely different. The reshaping, refining of energy, that was a very nice way of interpreting it, I thought. Even the meaning of Karma Yoga, we usually kind of surrender to God, and we know it kind of a thing, but you put it out, yoga karma kaushalam and all that was wonderful, Swamiji. So thank you very much. Probably do a closing prayer. And if anyone else, all the audience, anyone else has questions, please do send it across. I will pass it on to Swamiji, or lots of them. We'll definitely kind of ask Swamiji to come and talk to us again at some point later on. Okay. Okay. Just with the closing prayer, Swamiji, if that's okay. Yeah. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om, Swamiji. Namaste, Swamiji. And thank you very much. And thank you very much for taking our doing it from Jammu. I understand you're in Jammu and you still kind of accepted, agreed to do this talk for us. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you. Thank you.